Good morning. We are live with the RevUp Daily here in Scottsdale, Arizona. You have Jonathan Florence, Indian and Brendan, co-founders of Scaling Lean, coming to you with just what's working in the online space, what we're seeing in the progress, what we're seeing that's not working, and kind of what's being eradicated over time. We just share our daily tips of what's helped us scale to seven figures online with a coaching business. And we're just bringing it forward and letting you guys know exactly what we're doing in modern day and not what's worked in 2015, 2016, like a lot of these coaches online. With that being said, we have a great topic for you today. We're going to just do a recap of one of the events that we went to last night. We're part of the AZAI syndicate down here in Scottsdale. So we're really on like the cutting edge of knowing what's going on, the new advancements in AI, and what that means for businesses like ours, if you're watching this. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to you, JP. You can kind of introduce like what we talked about last night, and then we'll just go from there.
Yeah. Whoa. I'm getting a lot of feedback from you, Nina. I don't know what's going on there, but
Is it good now?
yeah, I would just not move your computer. It's like picking up like every little thing. Yeah. So welcome to the live, everyone. For those of you who don't know, we are on the board of directors at AI Surfer here in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is a worldwide, really awareness brand around everything AI, whether that's content related, sales related, marketing related, law, health, fitness. It's an amazing movement, and Nina and I were blessed with the opportunity to get involved with this board of directors during this initial launch back in, what was it, Nina, like May? So over the past couple months, we've been meeting up every month, and we actually just hosted our 2-day live event in the space, and it was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to preface that a little, Nina, for those folks that are like newer to our tribe. We really do have a amazing cohort of people, I guess you'd say, or amazing community of people here in Arizona that are just leading the movement inside of AI. And we are definitely more on the community-based selling model and growth plan of helping people just learn more about it so they can gain leverage and, scale back the 90% of things that they don't like doing, and maximizing the 10% of their zone of geniuses to gain leverage and build predictable revenue and simplify the scaling process. So yeah, with that being said, last night's event was absolutely awesome. There's probably about two dozen of us in the room, Nina. It was a great format where we got to collaborate with different folks in different niches and kind of learn the things that they're doing. I think overall, the biggest thing that really came up for me, Nina, was when we were speaking about the OpenAI Dev Day, which happened, I think that was Monday. And we really hopped into some pretty cool features that are being released in OpenAI and talking about some of the early adopters of AI like N8N and what is that other one, Make.com, how these folks are kind of up against some challenges, right? Because OpenAI is now expanding and bringing different features onto their platform. So, why don't you crack open a few things that were your key takeaways? We will have an entire document overview of all this for inside our Revenue Lab clients and paid 28-day fast start clients. So we might drop that outside, but that is coming too as well.
Yeah, for sure. So AI has been awesome over the last like 18 to 24 months inside of business, especially in the online marketing, sales, system space that we're in. There's been so many new developments that it's so hard to even keep up with, even if you're watching daily videos of like what's going on. Systems are popping up, apps are popping up because there's a lot of no-code platforms that are able to like just build very quickly like this. So ideas and creative ideas are able to be built in like an hour span. And we've seen it time and time again with like all of the systems that are coming out. There's so many, I guess you could say, comparable systems. And we dove in earlier this year. We've been using Zapier since 2021, which is like the glue of the internet. It connects different softwares and kind of creates like a streamlined thing. And I dove into personally like Make and N8N, comparing them to see like what was better, which systems I'm able to connect, etc., to create these agents inside of our business. And 2 weeks ago, I actually watched a video before last night's event talking about how if you are someone who is learning N8N or Make and or Zapier to be like this agent style seller where you're like building agents and selling them, it's no longer going to be needed. It's just like a space if you spend all of this time exploring, It's like you can actually just speak your idea into creation in a lot of ways using ChatGPT itself. The advancements over the last year has just been phenomenal from a standpoint of like marketing, sales, development, etc. Because like all these workflows and automations and just like apps in general, like you could just learn how to communicate with the software, and like what your mind is thinking, you could bring to fruition if you know how to communicate with it. And I just think it's scary, but also fascinating because so many people are fearing that their skills and their jobs are going to be taken away, but it's really a superpower if you learn how to use it. And I'm super grateful that over the last couple of months I've like learned these systems because it actually empowers us more to step into like the builder phase and like being like the strategist of like what's actually needed. So that's like one thing that was the key takeaway, especially with this past release on Monday. It's like what I heard 2 weeks ago is actually locked in, right? So like learning the actual skills of the building doesn't necessarily need to be like where you need to focus. Where a lot of people were getting stuck in shiny object because they're like, oh, I need to adopt AI, I have to learn AI, I have to learn the system. It's actually pretty complex when you want to build like functioning agents inside of business. So they were putting a lot of time, energy, and effort there, including myself. And now it's just like, oh, that whole process over the last year of learning can just be spoken into existence if you know how to speak to the software. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal and brilliant that it's developing so quickly, and we're just able to like learn and leverage this kind of technology in the modern day marketing and sales space.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what's important to talk about here is like for those of you who did watch the Dev Day, they forecast these changes that are coming, and one of the themes that I noticed in the room, Nina, is like there's been like timelines that haven't been realistic in the past. So some of the things we're talking about here, they're kind of like fluid, right? Because AI is so innovative and on the breaking point right now. So that was one thing that I did get feedback on last night. That was kind of eye opening for me, Nina. Is like people are expecting these updates kind of quicker than some of them are even being rolled out. But so in a sense, like one of the things that came to mind when I was there last night is like the big thing that ChatGPT seems to be doing right now is building an entire platform, right? So you're going to be able to host your app on the platform. You're going to be able to create content on the platform. They have their completely own what's called Sora now, which is basically like TikTok, where you can create AI content. You're going to be able to, as Nina mentioned there, like talk to AI, and it's going to be able to create and go out and interact with different softwares like Notion and bluehost.com and Canva and all these other different apps that are out, and basically formulate your idea in one place, right? Which is going to allow you to build those things very rapidly. So one of the things that came up was like, okay, that's great, but like these companies like Make, Zapier that Nina just brought up here, like they might kind of be obsolete because what OpenAI is now doing is allowing you to connect directly into these applications and build applications on their platform to build interaction gateways. So it was very interesting, how that kind of progressed and how we all kind of sat there and like reflected on how maybe there's some businesses that really went all in on N8N and Make in particular that might not be in the best place now because they did just like fully commit to their business to that one thing. And it's important as we go through this AI revolution that you kind of diversify yourself a little bit and don't put all of your eggs in one basket, right? Even with all these advancements with OpenAI, they seem to be leading the charge. Like it's important that you still do learn the AI language and learn a little bit of Claude and Perplexity and all of these Groks and things. I'm not saying go super crazy with all of them, but as long as you have a overview and understanding of what it takes to communicate with those platforms, you'll be way ahead of everyone, like no matter what, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about this last night, JP. It's like managers inside of businesses right now, or like high level, like people that are handling a lot of other people inside of business are probably going to be the best people to learn AI and communicate with AI, because those are the people that are typically building like standard operating procedures inside of businesses. And like how I see it, it's like as long as you're able to manage people, you can manage systems, because it's very similar in the way of how you have to like communicate, finite the detail, and really, if you want to get exactly what you're expecting out, you have to communicate exactly what you're expecting by putting in. And that's how I see it's like input output in terms of technology. It's like ChatGPT has a mind of its own. So you have to kind of construct it like a child in order to build what you want it to build. And like it's very smart. So it's like it has a mind of its own. So it's kind of like creating all these things and having like a vision of itself. But if you're able to put the proper barriers in place, it's like, okay, instead of going left, go right in order to build whatever you're looking to build, and you're able to communicate it in a very detailed manner, you're going to make amazing things from it. Whether it is like marketing systems, whether it is like content itself, like there's so many ways that you can go. Like AI is just like infinite ways, apps and systems and content creation, etc. There's so many ways that you can go about it, but you have to know how to communicate with the system so properly. And that's why I think like people that know how to manage people and communicate with other people, you're going to very easily learn how to communicate with the systems and get exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely, Nina. And the next thing that comes to mind is we were starting to speak about AEO, right? When we all know about SEO, which is social media optimization based on the search engine, right? Like Google and Microsoft and mostly Google, right? So we were talking about AEO, which is basically AI engine optimization, if you will, and how that's definitely on the forefront now, and how like marketing's kind of evolved from like the yellow pages to, you know, SEO, and now it's going to AEO. And we were just kind of talking about some of the bigger creators in the space and how they're now up against new challenges and ways to kind of leverage AI, because again, it seems like OpenAI is heading in a direction of creating their own search engine slash entire platform, like bridging the gap between like having a social media platform and also like a search engine, right? Which is really very interesting, and that'll be like the next big like revolution of the internet and Web 3.0.
Yeah, 100%. And we actually had a client who used a lot of this like AEO technology, and he was ranking first. And the interesting thing from last night's conversation too is the person who was leading the discussion asked the room, and there was about what, 20 of us, 24 of us, like who goes to Google versus ChatGPT? And over 80% of the room raised their hand for like going to ChatGPT and or Claude to get information rather than Google. And then another person who was in the room brought up, it's like, yeah, even if I use Google, I actually use like the AI thing, the Gemini at the top that pops up over the actual search engine results. And that alone right there is telling you which direction that the internet is going, which direction that buyers are going, which direction like the entire world is just going in terms of like communication and AI. And what we should be looking for as like a marketing standpoint is if you are looking to market, it no longer matters if you're ranked solely on Google, but ranking still matters because AI pulls from search engines like Google, YouTube, DuckDuckGo, etc. So you have to be on platform, but you have to be able to rank for this AEO rather than just the SEO, which is search engine optimization, rather than like the AI optimization.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So really one of the latest things that could potentially have opportunity, and by no means are we telling you to get shiny object syndrome and like go in a direction just based on hype and trends. But if you do have a way inside of your business to kind of go in that direction and start to find ways to rank with AEO, that's definitely something that's majorly kind of going to propel your business forward right now. And the other thing is the Sora app, which we can get into a little bit here, Nina, with like the AI content generation. We do have some invites because it's invite only. So if you want to check out the platform, if you are on ChatGPT, just drop a Sora below, and Nina and I will send you over an invite code to get on the platform. It's pretty unreal, the things you can create. Like you can basically say like, I want to be like walking down the road with Michael Jordan and shoot a basketball into the hoop from 50 yards away, and it will like create that effect, which is unreal. It's like amazing. It's amazing how real it is, honestly. And I just barely started dabbling with it. I got into the platform last night. I did like a little bit of a process. It took probably 3 minutes to clone myself, and then basically I was able to create some content. So just like we saw with the TikTok boom and Instagram and Facebook, we're now in a new era where this could potentially take over the entire social media platform and or just give us a new opportunity to expand into a new media source and be one of those innovators and first founders, you know, on that platform, which allow us to grow quickly and really claim our stake on that platform.
Yeah. So my question for you, because I do love the idea of it, but they did ask a question last night again of like, oh, like if the AI development is moving so quickly, there's going to be a divide in like how people see it. It's like number one is like people are fully embracing AI and they're becoming basically like cyborgs, right? Or the other end is like the quote unquote modern day Amish, which is people that are like reluctant to adapt this like, new way of living. And how I see it, it's like it's a Sora specifically is bringing up this topic of when you go on social media, you can't really decipher like what's AI versus like what's actual brand, right? And when I was thinking last night, I was like, personal brands might be eradicated in the modern day of like how we know they exist because it's so realistic nowadays to create AI videos of yourself, of like whoever it is that you want. So, what are your thoughts and processes of the landscape of social media with this new AI development? Do you think people are going to adopt it very easily, or do you think that people are going to be like, it's just a bunch of noise and kind of like stay out of it and lean more towards that, like giving it up and not really consuming it the way that we are in this modern day?
That's a very interesting concept. Yeah, it was kind of cool. We had like this little poll where it was like, are you going to be like divided and the guy that or person that gets the Neuralink chip and fully embraces AI, or the modern day Amish, which is just a normal person, kind of quote unquote, that kind of just embraces that you're talking about right there, Nina. I think it's very, very interesting, and I do feel that human connection, and we built on this for a little bit there, like human connection is going to be even more enhanced because now we're going to have more time to spend with humans doing more of the things that we absolutely love, which is awesome for our brand because that's really what we've built everything around, is just being able to, really make an efficient sales and marketing system that allows us to do that. It's like leverage, so we can do more of the things that we love. So with that being said, I think it's going to be an interesting world where I feel like there will still be personal brands and place for that, but I feel like there will be a far more amount of propaganda and probably skepticism with social media in general. Because I know I've questioned things even with this last major news event that happened in the past month here with Charlie, right? I was kind of questioning, like, is that real? Like, it causes a lot of ambiguity, and like people start questioning, and then like it causes uncertainty, and then as we know, that's never going to keep you focused in most cases because you're going to just become unfocused, right? So it is very interesting, and I think more people will kind of detach from social media. I always feel like it will be there, very strong, but I feel like there's going to be a stronger like community hub, I guess you'd say, than potentially like top of funnel, like people just doom scrolling like there is now. I feel like people will crave depth in information, so it'll probably be more like at a community level, and social media will be potentially just more for awareness like it is now, but probably less important honestly, because there's just going to be so much content out there that you won't know what to believe.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like it's so crazy to think about how the world has shifted so tremendously from 2020, 2021 era when like COVID happened into this like modern day technology boom of like social media, because people were obsessed with social media. Now it's like what you're saying is people are like longing more for community, real connection, and truth. And I feel like the movement really started from like that 2020, 2021. For number one, people were grasping onto community and real life connections because we were all locked inside and kind of like in this like technological world. And now it's even more that people are craving that in-person and or online community of people that see, know, understand, and just like are human at the end of the day. And it's going to be amazing for like the online business space that we're in, because that's really like, if you are a human that's craving other human connections, like there's a lot of communities out there that you can reach and get into. And social media is just a facilitator for the connector. And that's how I see it as well. And it's just going to be amplified of like what's happened over the last like 5 to 6 years.
100%. Yeah, it's really bad, your noise there. All right. So with that being said, it was the last thing that I really have to reflect on, Nina, is the revolutions that we were talking and how this is going to be potentially the last human revolution ever. I thought that was really very interesting to think about. Like we went through the Industrial Revolution, and different, the internet boom and, these type of things. And now we're about to enter potentially the last revolution in humanity, because we're about to bridge the gap into artificial intelligence. So from here on out, it's going to be potentially led through artificial intelligence and humans, and or just artificial intelligence, right? And what I mean by that is, like, there might not be a next big moment of revolution for quite some time, is what we were all kind of reflecting on, because it's just going to be more focused on betterment of the actual process, kind of like when the internet came out, right? Like we've been in this, what is it, like 20 plus year like movement of just improving the internet, right? And it's going to redefine the entire culture, and it's really amazing time that we're in right now. There's loads of opportunity. It's just a matter of, I think it's just a matter of like kind of taking it all in and moving with speed, but potentially not too fast because of how quickly things are really developing and moving, right? So, what are your thoughts there, Nina? Do you have any takeaways from that?
Yeah, it's definitely when we were talking about this whole idea that this is like the last revolution, I feel like that it caused some fear in the room of like, is this the end of the end of human species, and like really adopting into this new world and way of thinking. And then there was like a perspective also of like, well, we've created in the past like AI just fighting AI. And it's like, what kind of world are we going to be living in like 50 to 100 years? And that's like my biggest question with the technological advantages and like how people are like moving so fast. Like, what is the danger, and like what is like the fine line between like good and human and evil? And I thought it was just such an interesting conversation to look at it from that perspective of how people are seeing it. It's like it could be the end of humanity, or it could just be like a rebirth of like this new era of like time. And of course, I was sitting next to a woman who was very like spiritually connected, and she was talking about how it's like the age of Aquarius that started about a year ago. And it's a 24-year cycle starting now until like the end of the age of Aquarius. And there should be like this new energy and new style of living coming in. And we just don't know what it looks like yet. And it's kind of crazy that everything is happening at the same time, not to get too woo-woo, but like the conversations going around the room, it was just fascinating from every single standpoint of like from spirituality and like the shifting of like the moon, the stars, the sun, etc., all the way to like what's happening in the revolutionized space of like AI technology and how humans are adopting and attaching to it and or like running from it. And there's a very fine line between the two. And I just want to know like what it's going to look like. I don't think anyone could predict it. And one of the biggest facts that I learned last night was that AI and artificial intelligence actually was like started in 1960s, and we only now have like the capability of bringing it to life and using it and leveraging it the way that we are. And in just 20 years of like the internet being created to like the technology advantages that we have now, like what is the world going to look like? There's just so many things that we can't even predict or know unless we're really gearing on the forefront of it. I don't want to scare anyone. I hope that this is exciting some people that are into the space and time of like AI, but it's moving so rapidly. Like even being on the quote unquote forefront, I still feel like there's so much to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that being said, I feel like this was a Power Pack Live of some of the things we learned last night at the AI Surfer headquarters during our mastermind meeting. For those of you who do want to potentially learn more about AI and get involved, just reach out to us. We can plug you into the process, invite you into our community, and or invite you into the syndicate. Either one, amazing places to really just start learning about AI. You don't have to really commit too much time. It's just really awareness. And the communication factor is definitely the biggest hurdle to overcome, because as we talked about briefly there, the more context you can give the machine, the better information you're going to get back from the machine. And that's really the journey that Nina and I have been honing in on for the past really 12 to 24 months, is really developing prompts and ways to give the information to the system to develop our marketing and sales systems and really target our ideal clients and build our offers based on feedback from our markets, right? So then we can speak more directly to those folks and increase our conversion rates. So that being said, Nina, I don't have anything else on my end. Why don't you add a few words and call it end of the day?
Yeah. If you are watching this and you're interested in learning how we are using AI inside of sales, marketing, offer creation, etc., then all you have to do is join our free community on School. It's called 4 Weeks to Profit. If you want to join, there's a free playbook inside of there of how to get to 10K a month and even grow your business to 50 to 100K per month like some of our clients. All you have to do is drop hashtag school below. We'll send over an invite. Again, it's free. We're also hosting our masterclass, not this Saturday, but next Saturday on October 18th from 9 a.m. PST to 12 p.m. And what we're going to do is walk through exactly what we're doing to convert leads from social media into high ticket buyers and or low ticket buyers, whatever you're selling, using our coined marketing method, 5-minute webinars. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's only $5. We just want to make sure that you are prepared, ready to show up. With that $5, you're also going to get access to our snapshot. So that right there alone is only open and available to our clients that are spending 5K or more with us. So that being said, hop into that masterclass. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be fun-filled. And we're going to show you exactly how to build it in real time. So with that being said, we'll see you inside the School community, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time at 9 o'clock PST.